forsworn. If you make it as a hireling, they train you up and send you off to war.
Dustling. How strange. Hallam will find the right warrior to fill Sackler's seat. He always does.
Glynel, I assure you it's an ancient codex, just like in the tales.
Intriguing. And why would such a thing be revealed to a child of dust?
And here I was beginning to think that you'd never show up. This is Glynel, lawmaster of the House of Ballads. Give the Codex over to him, and he may have your answers. I'm a woman of many talents, and we're all taught that we must use our talents for the greatest good, right? A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. We are the charmed, the subtle, and the inspired. In happier days, we were the loftiest of the mortal races. We despise open war. But for decades, the Tuatha have been at war with us, pushing into our lands and forcing us to take up arms. The Codex of Fate is no simple law stone. It's more subtle and complex than any mortal could comprehend. But a law master of ballads may be able to interpret it. Lionel's one of the greatest balladeers amongst the Fae, and the most learned lawmaster you'll find outside of Issa. And as it happens, he owes me a favor. For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them time and again. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court. But since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer, but he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. Lore Master Glional has devoted centuries to the study of lore and ancient Fae stories. The Codex you found isn't just any lore stone. Just talk to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on the issue. Be on your way.
Come closer. You must be Lady Shir's friend. She speaks very highly of you. An occasion rare enough to be worth recording in its own right. But let's see this Codex. Oh, nothing. This is no mere lore stone, you know. The Codex of Destiny is distilled knowledge from the High King of the Fae, given to the first Fate Weavers. To have such knowledge in your hands is a tremendous gift, but why did it reveal itself to you? Nonsense. All children of dust have a story that is written before you see your first dawn. Now, I can only make out some parts, but this is odd. The Codex speaks of an exception, a void, an end to the endless. This is simply too much. The High King would never pawn such absurdity off as wisdom. I'm sure you think it is. I fear you must have been taken in by a forgery. A perfectly created one, perhaps, but a forgery nonetheless. But this Codex speaks of impossible things, changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be... I'm sorry, but I must ask you to take it away. I will have no part in these lies. All of us in the Western Feylands are subjects of High King Titarian. Our presence maintains the natural balance, bringing the green of spring at winter's end. We are the story that is told in every age, with different words, but the same meanings. We are the blazing summer and the brooding winter, forever following one another. We are, as we have always been and shall ever be, no more and no less. For you, tales are naught but a reminder of your inevitable decline. But for the Fae, our tales are eternal reminders of our truest selves. Here we celebrate the very heart of our kind. The greatest of our tales, reborn and relived. He is an offense to our people. He upsets the natural order, and his war breaks the cycle. I will speak no more of him. His wisdom is above us all, even the lords and ladies of the House of Ballads. The High King guides us in all the grand telling of the Fae. Every creature has its story. The wake it leaves behind in its travel, that is a telling. It is a narrative of defeats and victories that give every life meaning. Our Fae telling goes on from creation deep into the hidden end. Until then, we celebrate the small songs, the ones that celebrate the spring in which we find ourselves. As antiquarian, I'm keenly aware of the lesser ballads in Fae telling, and do my best to ensure that they're not lost in the wide river of time. I'm keeper of the Echo Stone here in the House of Ballads. It has only come to us recently, but I find its purpose most fascinating. It is a new relic crafted by several of our most attuned Fae mages. Usually the notion of new repels me, but in this case, I can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. The Echo Stone can be used like a lore stone to experience past narratives, stories that have long since left the lips of their tellers. However, one can only use the Echo Stone if he has the right matching cairn, a magical key devised by Hallam the White himself. The role of the storyteller is the most important to the Fae in the Court of Summer. He watches the telling as it unfolds. His gaze is not on one ballad, but all of them. Is there a meaning to it? Only its author could tell you. Do not bother me with such foolishness again.
Glyner spends his life cherishing old stories, but show him something truly new, and he dismisses it. Tragic. First of all, we ignore this fool. Most Fae aren't comfortable with change, and you are certainly something new. I'm afraid that only one person will really be able to help us with the Codex, the High King himself. It will be difficult. His court is in the city of Issa. Very few mortals are permitted in its gardens. I do know one individual who can grant you permission to enter, but you'll have to meet him alone. Nearlim is more of a what than a who. You'll understand when you meet him. With any luck, he'll be more favorably disposed to you than he is to me. He's bound to be curious at least. You'll find him in southeast Dalentarth, at Caer Nearlim. Just head towards the giant tree and, well, you'll see. That Codex isn't just a complicated lore stone. It seems to tell a tale most Fae don't want to hear, and created by High King Titarian himself, no less. Interesting. Good luck with Nearlim, and ignore anything he says about me.